Sure, I can tell you two very probably dramatic examples of that. One with the invention of email, and the other one with my attempt to unleash innovation in India. But let me give you the backdrop of this. I think it's a great question that you're asking. If you go back to the time of Galileo, here was a scientist who does his work, puts in his effort, and he says, look, the sun is the center of our solar system. Well, what happens to him? The existing academic hierarchy embodied in the Catholic Church crucifies him, quote unquote crucifies him. And in fact, it was only 1992 the Catholic Church admits that they made a mistake. All right? So the reality is that when new innovations, new ideas come about that actually threaten the existing narratives, this is when the backlash occurs. So I want to use the word narratives here, because the reality is there's truth and then there's narratives. And there's the keeper of these narratives. If you look at the 2,000 history of humankind, that keeper of those narratives has been done by what I call the quote-unquote the priesthood. At one time it was the actual priesthood, and today it's in the academic institutions. And we today in 2013 all need to become aware of this if we're really going to ensure that humankind is able to unleash innovation, and we're going to create the 1.2 billion jobs in the next 10 years we need. Because academicians, when we really look at them, we need to look at them very, very closely, because they too serve interests. So let me give you an example. When you look at the invention of email, as Noam Chomsky said, or as the facts show, there is absolutely no controversy. The facts, as my mentor Les Michelson says, are black and white. A 14-year-old kid working in Newark, New Jersey, mind you, an Indian immigrant 14-year-old kid working in one of the poor cities, invents email. And email is the emulation of the electronic inter-office paper-based mail system. And the term was never used prior to 1978. The Oxford English Dictionary puts it at 79, the Merriam-Webster at 82, and that's what email is. The work done prior to that was good work, but it was not email. It was the exchange of text messages. Okay, so those are the facts, and people can go to inventorofemail.com, where we literally did a PhD type project with many people, and it's documented when all the controversy took place. Now, why is there a controversy? Let's go to it. Let's go to what I talked about, narratives. What is the prevailing narrative here? The prevailing narrative, which has been supported by psychologists, so-called people who study human intelligence, so-called computer historians, etc., is that innovation can only take place in big universities, MIT, the Harvards, the Stanfords, by big companies in the military. That narrative supports a large multi-billion-dollar economy. In my case, you have Raytheon, which is a $35 billion military contractor, which bought a company called BB&N, which had poised itself as innovators, and you can go to their website, use the @ symbol as their logo, just like the Nike swoosh, and put their mascot as Ray Tomlinson, as the inventor of email. When anyone who looks at the facts, Ray Tomlinson did not invent email. He used the @ symbol for exchange of text messages, which is not email. Those are the facts. So you have a multi-billion-dollar company who buys BB&N to position themselves in the very lucrative cybersecurity market as innovators, and they use the moniker as inventor of email. So when my news comes out on February 16th, 2012, after the Smithsonian ceremony, where my artifacts are admitted, you have this huge backlash. And who does this backlash come from? Existing computer historians, and if you look at the facts, they actually get funded indirectly, in some ways directly, by BB&N and Raytheon. And in fact, if you look at computer historians, they also have vested interests. And these vested interests could not take the actual fact that innovation actually can occur in Newark, New Jersey. That innovation can occur outside the bastions of MIT and Stanford. And even though I was at MIT, I was very well promoted when I said I created EchoMail at MIT or Cytosolve. But when I said I created email outside of MIT, that turns up everyone's desire to attack this truth, because it breaks down their narrative. Right? So it's the narratives that are being perpetuated, and we as a community now need to look at what these narratives are. This narrative basically says only maybe 1,000 people or 10,000 people can innovate. Forget the fact there's a lot of smart people in every village across India, across the world, every inner city. And in fact, if you look at the story of Philo Farnsworth, a 13-year-old farm boy working in Utah is the one who invented TV. Proven fact. It took Philo 60 years finally to get that acceptance. But his story, again, very much like my story, goes against these existing narratives. So that's where these backlashes come from, because you have a set of people who, like movie makers, make narratives. And those narratives need to be busted up if humanity is going to move forward.